this fucking thing to record if I say record, but it randomly turns itself on. It's kind of creepy. And it's Easter Sunday. Happy Easter. Look. My chicken ride shotgun. I am on my way to work. I had a nice brunch with TJ. And today my review is on how I hope good fences make good neighbors. I have not yet met the neighbors. I did meet their son today, who came over, very cute, must be about 6, but doesn't speak very well. Trying to understand. I squatted down, to his height. I'm like, "Hi, I'm Heather," and he came running over. He came running over, and I was like, "Hi, I'm Heather," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "And what's your name?" He's trying. I don't know what his name is. And so I told him, I said, "Very nice to meet you. Can you shake hands?" I shook his hand. I said, "Nice to meet you, little man." And I said, "I had to get ready to go to work now. I'll see you later." And I went in the house to prep for work. Taylor's out back. I go outside the back to get Taylor. Let me back up. TJ brought me my curio cabinet today, and it has a big crack in the top of it in the wood. It's just split over time. So before I go to work, I have all the supplies ready. I jam some adhesive in the middle, and I clamp it together with massive clamps. These are huge. These are 3-foot long clamps, and they're heavy. And the rods that stick out of the back are squared off solid steel. I tell you this for a reason. I have 4 of them attached to the top of the curio cabinet, smack dead in the middle of my living room, because there's no one else there, and when I get home, it'll be dry. I have 3 clamps going one way and 1 going the other way. There's no getting around it. I wanted to bring Taylor to work with me today because she needs to get outside. She's lonely. I feel like she's depressed. I'm taking her to work with me so she can run around outside and get some sun. I went out back to get her, and when I came back inside, that little boy was standing in my living room, right next to his eyes are right next to where the steel rods end on these clamps. And I fucking jumped and screamed because I was not. It was like looking at the kid from The Shining. He's cuter than that kid. But I'm running around. I'm lost in thought. I got so much going on. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get this job done this late in the afternoon on Easter Sunday. So the last thing I expected was a small person standing in the middle of my living room. And I screamed and I jumped. And I said, "Well, you have to knock before you come in my house." I said, "I'm leaving for work now. You need to go. And maybe you can come back later. Maybe not." So he is out front, leaves, and then with some sort of warbled voice, he asked me if I could please fill up his pool for him. And it's not a kiddie pool. I said, "No, I don't think your pool's ready to be filled. I think when your pool is ready to be filled, your parents will fill it for you." I'm thinking to myself, this kid is obviously special needs. I mean, I knew that 2 seconds after seeing him. I mean, I have a couple of questions. Why are there suddenly so many at like epic proportions of children that fall on the spectrum of some sort of autistic disorder or ADHD? And I'm not trying to label everybody, and I wholeheartedly believe that medication in children is way overused, usually as a replacement to compensate for lazy parenting. But in some cases, it's just obviously medically necessary. Not always. And there really isn't medicine for autism. It just takes a lot of patience and a lot of attention. Why this fucking kid is outside by himself in the road inside my house where are his parents? Where is his parental supervision? He is obviously not of the mind to be off on his own without being watched. And for long enough that he was in my house and no one knew. I'm putting up a fence. If I have to barricade my entire property like a fucking fortress, I will. If that kid got hurt, I guarantee you, in most instances, if it's lazy parenting, that's the first parent who doesn't give a fuck about that kid until they get hurt. And now it's my fault because I have dangerous materials in my house and he wandered in. I met him 2 minutes, 5 minutes prior. I don't know who he is. He doesn't belong in my fucking house. But I guarantee you, it would be my liability that would pay the lawsuit for the parents who now suddenly are so disturbed and distraught over the injury of their child, who 20 minutes prior didn't know where the fucking kid was. So now when I left for work, he was gonna come running over again. And I said, I have to leave for work. So he went back home again. And as I proceeded to pull away from the house, isn't he standing at the edge of the road, jumping up and down, hi, 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 as I'm driving past. Now, I'm not making fun of this kid. He's obviously got some developmental issues. I want to know where the fucking parents are. How are they not aware that this child is outside by himself? Forget about the dangers he could get into, but he could cause dangers as well. So I am hoping that a fence of epic proportions, let's add that to the cost of shit going on. I don't know why we have, it's, what is the word I'm looking for? Epidemic. It is of epidemic proportion that we now have these special needs children. Is it in the fucking water? What kind of drugs are these people doing? Or is it in the food additives? Is it in the microplastics? Because when I was a kid, and it wasn't, I'm older, it wasn't that fucking long ago. It was not all inclusive when I was a kid. The special needs kids were in one class, and there were like 8 of them for the whole school. And I didn't go to a small school. I didn't go to a big school. I went to a medium-sized school, and there were like 8 special needs children. They all got on the same bus, and they were all in the same classroom. Now everything is all inclusive, because if it weren't, you'd have a classroom for the normal, non-challenged children. At what point did our population become special needs to the point where everywhere I have lived in the last 10 years, 12 years, within one house range, there have been multiple special needs children? That it is almost, I don't recall the last time I saw a child that didn't have some sort of condition, issue, challenge, or special need. We need to start looking into where, is it in the water? Is it the microplastics? Is it the food additives? Is it the fucking drugs, the steroids, the meth, whatever? Is anyone else curious as to how it got to epidemic proportion? Because the ratio feels a little off balance. And I was scared. Now, granted, it was at nighttime, and he was a child. But had it been nighttime, my rifle or a shotgun would have come out. And if I knock on the door and introduce myself and say, hi, I'm Heather. I just moved in next door. By the way, found your son standing in the little middle of my living room this afternoon. Scared me nearly half to death. If it turns out, and I hope, depending on their response, but I'm going to tell you right now, if I get a stupid response like, oh, he means no harm, I'd be like, yeah, he might mean no harm, but my rifle does. Keep him out of my house. I don't know who has experienced this. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that there's a difference. But we will see if, was it tall fences make good neighbors or good fences make good neighbors? I don't remember the quote. But whatever it is, I need a fence for the dogs as it is. It was just going to be a wire fence that I stick in the ground. Big fence, big fence. Maybe not on the other side, but on their side, big fence all the way down. I can't have this kid in my house. Questions or comments, feel free to leave them. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. My other videos, I have some cool ones that are actually coming up soon. Have a great day. Happy Easter.